Our theme tonight is Taking Cub Scouts Fishing. Everybody, welcome to the Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Roundtable. It is May 13th. This is our final roundtable of the 2025-2026 school year. We will be back in August after 2 months of recuperating and summers and traveling. Our agenda tonight, we'll have our welcome and opening, our safety moment. Then Pastor Scott is going to take our Cub Scouts fishing. We'll have a few announcements in closing and then some open discussion time. Please mute yourself while we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Scout sign. Scout oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. The Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. The outdoor code. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, to be careful with fire, to be considerate in the outdoors, and to be conservation-minded. 2. Our safety moment today is on fishing. It's kind of a great time. I've already taken my 2nd grade class fishing this last week, and my 4th grade class will be going fishing this next week. So it's a fantastic time to get out, enjoy our waters, but we want to make sure that we are safe doing so. So some fishing safety. Some stay safe while fishing. Always use the buddy system. Let others know where you're fishing and when you plan on returning or where you're going to meet them. Make sure you dress appropriately for the weather. I know right here in the morning it's chilly. By noon it's really hot. So make sure that you are planning for both of those adventures. Be observant to ensure that no one is in harm's way while you're casting. Watch for steep inclines at the water's edge and for rocks and stumps while waiting. If someone is hooked, everybody stop. Don't move. Remove the hook only if it's on the surface of the skin or on clothing. Otherwise, make sure to seek help for proper hook removal. Wear safety glasses or sunglasses and a large brim hat to prevent overheating, reduce glare, and fend off any stray hooks coming your way. Make sure you have ample drinking water to avoid dehydration. It gets really, even in 20 or 30 minutes, it can get really hot out there in that time if you're in the sun. Make sure you review those standard safety procedures concerning cuts, scratches, and other wounds. And understand hypothermia can be a risk even during summer months, and how to treat and identify heat exhaustion or heat stroke. A fishing rod can become a lightning rod. Make sure that your rod is down until the weather clears during a thunderstorm. And of course, let's not forget our leave no trace fishing. According to the U.S. Forest Service, monofilament fishing line takes 500 years to photodegrade. It can also be an entanglement hazard to both wildlife and people swimming or spending time on the shoreline. And I love this one. This is from Leave No Trace Ireland. It's their angling checklist. So if you need some more information, the BLM has stuff on Leave No Trace fishing, and it's always fun to look at Leave No Trace around the world. With that, that is your safety moment for tonight. Our program this evening is Taking Cub Scouts Fishing. Pastor Scott Johnston is going to be leading us tonight. He's put together some excellent resources for taking our Cub Scouts fishing, as well as how to be safe on our waterways. With that, I'll turn it over to Pastor Scott.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here. This is one of my favorite subjects. Fishing can be challenging as leaders because you have quite often scouts that have never been fishing before. And they don't know the first thing about safety. They don't know the first thing about rods or bait or even how to catch a fish. Many of them haven't caught a fish. So, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to repeat a little bit of what Michelle has just talked about, but it's all a part of the behavior of the scouts and how we need to develop them to be um, thinkers in the fishing world, to be safe and to be good stewards of the environment. At the same time, have a great deal of fun. Taking Cub Scouts fishing. This Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Roundtable is dedicated to all Scouting American volunteers who prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetime for the stewardship of the natural aquatic world. Now, it's often said that Baden Powell used the fisherman's prayer quote, which I particularly like. Lord, suffer me to catch a fish so large that even I, in talking of it afterwards, shall have no reason to lie. I thought I'd give you all a treat. This is a new, well, not a new boat, but a boat that I just acquired. Cub Scout fishing is a popular outdoor program for boys and girls, kindergarten fifth through fifth grade, focusing on safety, skill building, fun rather than proficiency. Activities include rod handling, knot tying, environmental stewardship, which a lot of people really don't realize that it exists in fishing, but it does, often culminating in fishing derbies. Over the past many years, fishing consistently ranked as a top activity for Cub Scouts, with surveys indicating that 71% are interested in learning to fish and 90% of the youth wanting to participate. Before I take you right into the action and the fun of taking a Cub Scout fishing, I want to take us through the steps of leave no trace and show you how that's really embedded into having fun and the whole fishing program. It's not a leave no trace for fishing is not a separate program. It's a part of the program. But first, let's talk about some of the safety tips. Here are some examples of how adults can apply the safe checklist to the fishing adventures. Scouts and their parents expect all Scouting America activities be conducted safely. To ensure the safety of participants, Scouting America expects leaders to use the 4 points of SAFE when delivering the scouting program. The first one being S for supervision. For Cub Scouts, adults should bait the hooks and remove fish from the hooks. Assess. This is something that is usually done on the pre-planning age or period. Inspect the site that you will fish prior to the outing. Check for all areas that could pose danger to the scouts, such as steep banks, rocks, etc. Cub Scouts, Webelow, Arrow of Light Scouts should only fish on still water, ponds, lakes, estuaries that are very, very slow moving for safety. Visit Take Me Fishing, places to fish from takemefishing.org, or your state's natural resource agencies to identify where to fish. You can also find potential fishing spots in your area by using Google Maps, visiting local tackle shops, and asking local fishing clubs where to go fishing. Fitness, F for fitness. Demonstrate how to cast a fixed line cane pole, telescope crappie pole, by raising the tip of the pole and allowing the line and bait to swing forward into the water, or practice using casting games such as backyard bass or big lunker. Avoid back or side casting with fixed line poles. Cane poles are really nice. I actually, as an adult, use some of those. Some use cane poles to go trout fishing. Have a scout yell, "Fish on," and clear the immediate area as the scout is bringing in the fish. When caught, fish should be brought in by slowly lifting the tip of the rod upright and then securing the fish. Number 4, always wet your hands before handling the fish and teach the proper techniques of handling the fish. For spiny fish, such as sunfish, slide your hands downward from the nose to fold down their fins. For catfish, slowly slide your hand from the tail upward to avoid the barbs. I've been stuck by the barbs before, and the barbs can, well, they can numb your hand, numb your fingers, and stings right away. It is highly recommended that adults use the edge method to scout, excuse me, method to coach scouts how to handle the fish. Equipment and environment. Smaller Cub Scouts should use simpler gear, such as what I'd mentioned, cane poles, telescoping crappie poles, or spin cast rods. Zebco seems to be a famous reel on some of the rods for younger individuals. Have a backup plan, such as I mentioned before, backyard bass and big lunker, or another casting game ready for practice casting, or in case the fish are not biting. And I would suggest this: having those games off to the side for when scouts say that's enough. Don't force them to continue to fish. Their best enjoyment is when they have filled their cup full of fishing and they're ready to stop. Let them stop. But you have these games in the background to keep them occupied. Fish only on still waters, as I'd mentioned, and fish from docks or seawalls. All who fish from those particular areas should wear personal flotation devices. Wear hats, eye protection, sunscreen, which Michelle had already mentioned. When not fishing, a pole rod should be held upright so it won't poke anyone. Now, let's get into the action here. Taking Cub Scout fishing can start with a really nice guide that I found. It is one tool in the toolbox to help provide a guide for planning, safety, and fishing skills for the youth. Following the guidelines found also in the Guide to Safe Scouting, Safety Afloat guidelines, safe swim defense, aquatic supervision, and I added a bunch in here, but this may not be necessary for fishing trips. Paddlecraft safety, first aid, scuba diving, for the older ones, or at least to have that knowledge. And of course, CPR training are essential to safeguard all aquatic activities. The more you know, the better off we are. Make sure your youth are carrying the Cub Scout 6 essentials, a first aid kit, or at least have one on hand. This, a full water bottle, flashlight, trail food, or snacks, or some other type of food, sun protection, and a whistle. Use barbless hooks or crush down hook barbs. Dress appropriately for the weather conditions. And follow the outdoor code, which we just recited. And of course, I added the outdoor code. Now, continuing on with this supplemental guide, follow the principles of leave no trace for fishing. I had mentioned before, it's not a separate thing to do. We want to embed in individuals the principles of leave no trace as a fishing worldview. Use 2-deep leadership, of course. If possible, locate qualified angling educators, certified angling instructors through your local councils to help. Take a fishing basics class from the Scouting America Angler Educator or certified angling instructor. Know before you go. Here we go. Into the principles. This is not separate. Follow through on this. It's pretty good to help guide a scout into a great fishing adventure. Know before you go. The kids' version of the 7 principles of leave no trace. Plan ahead and prepare. Know the local fishing boating regulations for the area you're required or appropriate. Learn to identify the different species of fish in the area where you will be fishing. Really important. Why is that? Because You may catch fish that need to be kept. They may be invasive species, like the snakehead fish in the Potomac River. Obey limits on fish size or slot limits, a fishing term for fish size. Quantity of fish you're allowed to keep. Abide by regulations concerning type of baits and tackle permitted where you are fishing. Prepare for extreme weather hazards and emergencies. Plan your trip to avoid times of high use. That kind of sounds boring, but listen to what this fellow's going to say about putting together a fishing derby, and it'll fit right in with this first principle.
We held a fishing derby to recruit Cub Scouts, and it cost us less than $100. Here's how we did it. We decided to kick off our Cub Scout year a little differently this year and held a fishing derby. We invited all of the Cubs in the pack and asked them if they had a friend who wasn't a Cub Scout who might want to join, to bring them along. We ended up with about 25 kids, and of those 25, 5 were brand new and were not members of Cub Scouts, and all 5 joined our pack. First thing we did was find a location. Now, we had our derby out at a private residence on Lake Murray, which is close to downtown Columbia, South Carolina. Now, it doesn't have to be a private house. You could go to a state park, you could go to a pond, you could go to a river. Basically, anywhere that's got fish in a waterfront, it doesn't really matter where you have this. For fishing gear, we asked the kids to bring their own rods and reels. But we also went to the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. They've got a loaner program for rods and reels for youth fishing education. They provided us with rods, reels, and tackle, the hooks and bobbers and everything, free of charge. They also gave us some great literature to hand out to all the kids, the books on fishing and charts and posters and things like that. Cannot say enough about how helpful DNR was in this whole process. The tackle was basic, like a basic spin cast reel, a Zebco 202 if you're familiar, and we used a J hook, a number 6 J hook with a single split shot sinker and a bobber. As a joining activity, we played backyard bass. Now, if you're not familiar with backyard bass, you should be. You can find it on Amazon.com. Basically, they're large plastic fish that have a slot, and the kids have an opportunity to practice casting with a weight that's shaped like a fish. So they cast the weight out there and they reel it in, and they try to catch these fish. Now, what they don't realize is that they're learning to use the equipment at the same time without hooks flying everywhere. And it's a fantastic way for kids to come in, to come out. They can throw a couple of times and hand the rod off to somebody new and give them an opportunity. I also contacted the University of South Carolina bass fishing team, and they were great. They came out with one of their fishing boats all lettered up and logoed up. They were in their fishing jerseys, and the kids loved being able to climb on the boat and to ask the questions, and they treated these kids like heroes. The members of the bass fishing team were also on hand to help bait hooks and figure out tangles and things like that during the fishing process. Promoting this event was pretty straightforward and inexpensive. We used a flyer. I used the free version of Canva to make a flyer that we then emailed to our existing pack email list. We promoted it through our charter organization. We also went to the first scout meeting of the year, the first Cub Scout meeting, and promoted it there. That was actually very helpful because people could ask questions. And we directed everybody to an Eventbrite site to register. And the reason was not necessarily to buy a ticket. The Eventbrite is free, but we wanted to kind of get an idea of how many people to expect. All of that was free. All of that promotion was free. Once everybody had arrived and we had a brief safety meeting, we got them, put rods in their hands and got them on the water ready to go. We fished for about 90 minutes, which was really about the right amount of time. Every time somebody caught a fish, we made a big deal of it, took pictures, and everybody was all smiles. We had 2 small prizes, one for the most fish caught, one for the largest fish caught. They were small tackle boxes that I bought at a closeout at Academy Sports for under $10 each. The last 15 or 20 minutes, the Department of Natural Resources, SCDNR, showed up in their boat, and they came flying into the cove with the boat, with the lights on and the sirens blaring. The kids absolutely loved it. They had an opportunity to go down and talk to the game wardens. The game wardens talked to them about safety on the water, about wearing life jackets, about the game laws and how to obey the laws, and let them climb all over the boat. And it was just a fantastic experience. I cannot say enough again about South Carolina DNR, about how helpful they were in putting this event together. All told, we had under $100 in total cost in this event. The biggest chunk of that was bait. Between crickets and worms, we had about 25 pieces of bait per person for the 90 minutes that we fished. That was just about right. We ran out of worms. We still had some crickets left over at the end. It's about 400 crickets, I think, and about 125 worms. We cut the worms in half. Again, we're using a number 6 J hook with a sinker, so the hook is small, so the whole worm wouldn't necessarily fit. Spent under $20 on the prizes. We spent another $15 or so on some ice and water to have on hand. Spent another 15 or 20 on first aid kit kind of replenishments, just in case somebody got hurt. So the USC bass fishing team came with the understanding that they could sell some of their gear, which included this sweet hat I'm wearing with the throwback Carolina script logo. I love it. Bought that from them as a thank you for coming out and giving their time. They sold hats and t-shirts and sold a fair amount of stuff, so they were good. If you don't have a bass fishing team or a university team, I'm certain that you can find somebody that's got a fishing boat that can come out and provide that centerpiece or something, that kind of wow factor. We had music playing, we had cornhole set up, and basically just a festive atmosphere for these kids to come out and fish and have a great time. So it was a wonderful event. If you've got any questions at all about how to have this event, I would encourage you to seek out in your council and find out whether they've got a certified angling instructor or a CAI. The Boy Scouts CAI Certified Angling Instructor Program is designed to teach leaders like me how to teach kids how to fish, because fishing is such a fantastic entry-level outdoor activity. It's good for Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, and then something they can take into their adult life as well. If you don't have a CAI program or a CAI in your council, feel free to reach out to me in the comments below. I'll help you any way that I can and try to put you in contact with the right people to help you have a fishing derby or a fishing recruitment event that'll help you build your pack or your troop numbers. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great one.
Along with the suggestions that he was making and the safety concerns that he brought up, the preparation that he took, and took time to pull together and made it a wonderful event. I thought I'd include a couple council ideas here that can be used in planning ahead. You can host a council fishing derby, which was mentioned. Cast and catch games, like is also was indicated by this individual. DIY tackle workshop. Scouts can make their own fishing gear, such as creating a rod from a stick, using a pool noodle as a bobber. Pack fishing derby and potluck combined, where you can have families out there and have a picnic, and even during the cold season, winter ice fishing for colder climates. Host safe and supervised ice fishing trips to learn specialized techniques. That's with the council focus. In my area, Western Maryland, we have quite a few fishing derby events that take place around the area. You got to be careful going to these events because they're not scouts and they may not understand or set up any kind of youth protection policy. So you keep your scout unit close by when you go to these events so that there's no troubles and safety can be kept in place. But we have the annual Boonesboro Fishing Derby and the Fort Ritchie Bass Fishing Tournament, the Hagerstown Fish Frenzy, and the Maryland Youth Fishing Rodeo. In your area, you should be able to find similar type of county fishing events that take place. It's a really great way to keep scouts coming to your unit and even to build your unit. Across the Maryland area, and when you periscope out, there's even bigger events that take place across the state. I'm right now down in Ocean City, Maryland, and I figured I would tune into some of these events. But Ocean City, Maryland has a Marlin Club and that in that Marlin Club once a year they have the July annual Kids Classic. The Pasadena Fishing Group also has a fishing derby. North Fishing Club, they have a kids fishing derby. There's derbies and fishing events throughout the whole area, not only countywide, but throughout the state. So they're always available and they're always fun-filled events that you can fill your calendar with and keep your scouts occupied. Choose the right path. Travel and camp on durable surface. Well, what the heck does that have to do with fishing? I can tell you. There's a lot important things to reap from this that you need to plug into your fishing training at all levels, at all ranks within the Cub Scouts. Walk on durable surfaces. Durable surfaces include rocks, gravel, and established trails, sand and snow. Concentrate use on existing trails and boat launches. And I would have to say, going down to the water's edge, use trails that are already there. Don't make new trails. If you can find brick steps going into the lake at your council camp lake, that would be great. Use that. Try to hold your scouts back from walking indiscriminately all around the lake and trampling down on the riparian areas, which help to filter out the bad things that are flowing downhill towards the lake. Avoid trampling aquatic vegetation and wading into the water during spawning time. That's where the fish eggs will be laid out through the edge of the water source, and quite often the fish there are very protective and they're spooked when you enter the water. It disrupts the ecosystem and may even do harm to the fish. Enter and leave the water source where the banks are low and there is gravel bars. In pristine areas, disperse use to prevent the creation of new campsites and trails like I had mentioned. Protect the riparian areas. They're really important. I pulled this picture and put it into this slide because I want you to really understand what a riparian area is. Right below the trees, you usually have, well, in this particular illustration, you have what is called as a riparian area on both sides of that small water source in the middle. There's your filtration source. A lot of times boaters may get out and they may use that as a place to go to the bathroom. And what we want to do is try to teach the scouts, that's a real lush area of vegetation and wildlife. Even if it's small wildlife that you can't see, lizards, snakes, birds, rabbits, it's an area that needs to be well kept. Trash your trash. Dispose of waste properly. Pack it out, pack it in, pack it out. Inspect your campsite and rest areas for trash. A lot of this you may be familiar with. Pack out all monofilament fishing line, leftover live bait, and bait cups. If you can, at this time, I'd like for you, Michelle, to go ahead and play the Cleveland Metro Park slide on the bottom.
I missed that one as a movie. I'm sorry.
Okay. That is a little video clip. It's a recent clip, and there's a fellow that is an angler expert and a biologist, and he talks about keeping the lake clean. And one of the concerns that he has is even worms. There's a lot of a worm bait that is being sold, and it's not local to the area. It may be shipped in from another state or even another country. And disposing of that in the lake, like that's natural food for the fish, is not necessarily the right choice. It can be considered an invasive species. So what you want to do is any kind of leftover bait, you want to take it out, find out what the rules are for that particular area. If you get bait in a local store, ask where that bait came from. and find out if it's okay to, especially with worms, to dispose of them in the water, running water, or that particular area. If not, pack it out. Avoid using lead sinkers and jigs. They had a problem up north, I believe in the New Hampshire area, with loons eating the lead sinkers and jigs and having problems with their digestive system and getting it caught in their beaks. Use, especially with Cub Scouts, use established bathrooms before you start your fishing. Make sure all the scouts know if there's a local bathroom close by, that's the place where they need to go. Older scouts and weeblos, of course, may need to learn how to use a cat hole at that particular age, especially when there isn't a local bathroom available. Check with local land managers for regulations on disposal of fish carcasses and cut up fish for bait. It's something like, it's the same concern with the fish entrails as you do with disposal of bait in the local area that you're fishing. Wash yourself and your dish. If you're washing your dishes, make sure that you carry the gray water 200 feet away from the water source, and scatter the strained dishwasher. We can all do our part in recycling leftover fishing gear, especially with monofilament line. Boat US has worked at putting together a package of information that you can use to build one of these fishing line disposals. I have made, or my unit made, about 5 of those and put them around Camp Sinaquippi's lake for other scouts to dispose of their monofilament fishing line. It can also, in making that particular cone, it can become a conservation project and count for the scouts who need a conservation project. Michelle, can you play that video?
There's nothing quite like a day spent fishing. It's an opportunity to relax from the stresses of daily life and spend some quality time in a beautiful environment. However, if you fail to dispose of your fishing line properly, you could be risking the future of your favorite fishing spot. Each year, more than 100,000 wildlife die from the remnants of old fishing gear. This gear harms boats and pollutes the waterways they operate in as well. Fishing line that hasn't been recycled is one of the chief contributors to this problem. It isn't biodegradable, which means that the fishing line you leave in the water today can wreak havoc on the environment for the next 600 years. Boat US Foundation is committed to solving this issue by bringing awareness to the importance of fishing line recycling. Through the simple act of recycling your old lines, you can have a huge impact on your favorite fishing spot. Collectively, we can protect our waterways for future generations to enjoy. Recycling old fishing line has never been easier than it is now. Many marinas, boat ramps, and waterfront businesses have specialized recycling bins on site. If not, you can visit Boat US Foundation's website for a map of recycling locations near you. Boat US Foundation has created several online resources for anglers who want to help. You can learn about our fishing line recycling program and what you can do to bring it to your favorite fishing spot. We need the help of outdoor enthusiasts like yourself to make a lasting impact. Recycle your line today to help us reach our goal of ensuring the future of this country's beautiful waterways.
Leave what you find. When practicing catch and release, use barbless hooks and be sure not to injure the fish. Do not fight fish to exhaustion. Use rod and line of sufficient strength. Avoid suspending fish out of the water by the fishing line. Keep fish in the water when handling for release and do not touch the gills. Use needle nose pliers or hemostats for hook removal. Take care not to introduce non native species to water sources, I should say, and properly wash all equipment before the fishing trip. And even after the fishing trip, do so, I would suggest do so away from the water source any particular water source. Avoid transferring fish from one body of water to another. Prepare the pass, observe, but do not touch culture or historic structures and artifacts. The fish below there is the northern snakehead fish collected out of this Potomac River tributary at one particular time, and I think they still may have this rule put into place that if you catch a snakehead, you need to dispose of it rather than release it back into the water body that you're fishing from. When they lay eggs, they lay thousands of eggs at one time, and they're predators. They go after the local fish, bass, and many other fish. Be careful with fire. Beach fires or land fires around the lake areas. Campfires can cause lasting impacts. Use lightweight stoves for cooking when possible. Where fires are permitted, use established fire rings, mound fires, or fire pans, and consider bringing your own firewood. That is if you have permission. Keep fires small and use only dead down wood that can be broken by hand. And I want to go back to making a comment about bringing your own firewood. I know at our council, they don't allow that. So if you have a permission to bring your own firewood, that's fine. But otherwise, you definitely want to check the regulations as to whether you can or not. Burn all wood and charcoal to ash. Ensure the fire is completely out, and properly dispose of cold ashes by scattering or packing it out. Make sure, double sure, that it's not warm and it has been completely extinguished. Respect wildlife. Respect fish by humanely dispatching your catches. You keep with a quick blow to the back of the head with a rock or a solid object. Refrigerate or eat quickly to avoid wasting them. Check local regulations on using stringers. Use caution when cooking fish in bear country. That goes without explanation. Never feed wildlife. Feeding wildlife damages their health, alters natural behavior, and exposes them to predators and other dangers. Control your pets or leave them at home. Avoid using, as I had mentioned before, the lead sinkers and jigs. There is a picture of a loon and a lead jig caught in his beak. Practice sustainable fishing methods. Be kind or considerate to others. Respect others and protect the quality of their experience. This is hard to do, especially when you're fishing, because when you're fishing with Cub Scouts, they get excited. It's an area in the council lakes. Well, it's an area where recreation takes place, and getting exciting, getting a little bit loud seems to be a natural thing. But in other areas, if you take scouts on a family fishing trip, you may want to consider the noise that is being made by your cubbies around other individuals that are not a part of your group, to give them the same enjoyable time and sound that a lot of us like when we're out in nature. Non-motorized crafts usually have the right of way over power boats. Slower boats should keep to the right. If using a radio, keep the volume low. Wear headphones. Let nature sounds prevail. Pick campsites that are away from the shorelines or trails to avoid crowding other visitors and also polluting the waters around you. Here is a picture of the Leave No Trace fishing hang tag. I use them to put together this PowerPoint, and they are available at Leave No Trace. I would suggest ordering those hang tags, because they're just a nice way to teach your scouts how to grow and be a fisherman that respects the nature around them and becomes a good steward of the environment. Leave No Trace fishing, it's not a program. It is scouting with moral and ethical decision making. Thank you. And that is the end of the presentation. Go to the next couple slides, because there is some references there. If anybody wants a copy of where the information in the slide was pulled from, we have some references here. And I have some image information here for copyright protection. And
Thank
that
you,
is
Scott.
all. Thank you.
Chris or somebody or Scott, again, I can't really look at the chat, but any questions come up in the chat?
I guess there's one question. How is the fishing line recycled? Pastor Scott, I know you had mentioned that a minute ago.
Yes. Boat US Foundation has a whole lot more information, not only on how to make one of those disposals, but where fishing line can be sent to once it's collected. Each state, well, not each state, but there are a number of states that have disposal companies that you can send the fishing line to. Berkeley is one fishing company that sells rods and reels, and they also collect. They have information on that you can get from them on where to send monofilament line so that they can dispose of it for you. If you can't find information by Googling the Boat US Foundation, you can also call maybe your local fishing supply store and see if you can, or a local marina, and see if they can't help you with some information. I hope that helps.
And I think the other comment that's in there that I want to bring attention to real quick is just the the Sea Scouts and Outdoor Ethics pamphlet that's now available online. There's a link that Mark Burchell posted just a little bit up from the bottom of the chat. That's available for download from scouting.org. And I think Pastor Scott may have had something to do with that, right?
I couldn't quite hear you, Chris, and I have to apologize.
The new Sea Scouts and Outdoor Ethics pamphlet that's available online. You had something to do with that, right?
Yes. And we have another guide that really looks at all of the water related merit badges and pulls them into the Leave No Trace world, so to speak, and provides information on how to handle those particular water sports or water activities with the use of Leave No Trace. It hasn't come out yet, but it's in the works.
Great. Thank you so much, Pastor Scott. Like I said, it's a great time to go fishing.
It is.
Announcements. First of all, what a beautiful sunset from Susie in northern New Jersey. Chris, I get to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Castillo. I'm chairing the National Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Conference coming up next February. And if you haven't been invited yet, I would like to officially invite you now to come join us down at Seabase. If you haven't been before, the conference is in two parts. There's what we'll call the main conference over a long weekend, February 18 to 21. And then we also offer pre-conference workshops ahead of time. Here on the screen in the flyer, you can see an overview of what the whole program looks like. I will go ahead and drop the flyer into the chat. That might be a little bit easier for everybody to see if you want to download it yourself. Feel free to share this with others. You can scan the QR code or visit the website for more information, and we'll be posting more as we get the program developed over the next couple of months. Also, keep your eyes on your email. We're going to be putting out a call for proposals probably sometime over the summer. So if you've got some ideas or topics for sessions that you'd like to present at the conference to share with others, we'd love to have your participation with that as well. I guess some of the highlights will be going to the Britain Environmental Center and hearing a keynote address on coral reef restoration efforts. That's going to be really exciting and something that Scouting is involved in that you might not be aware of. But we as Scouting are focused on coral reef restoration at Sea Base, or through our programs at Sea Base. Looking at an optional field trip to Key West, probably doing a sunset cruise the first afternoon. So we, even though we're going to have a lot of content delivered on Friday and Saturday, we're also looking at having some recreation and taking advantage of the opportunities that are already available at Sea Base. So I hope you'll all join us. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Chris. And again, there'll be more information as everything gets nailed down. We will start getting those pre-conference activity workshops posted, and some of the other Sea Base specific pre-conference opportunities that we're looking at will also get posted. Just need to finalize everything. Of course, we want to mention our Leave No Trace Level 2 instructor courses. If you have not taken the course yet, we encourage you to. There are several that are coming up. Obviously, the May 16th to 22nd one, that is like this week. Northern Tier, right now, we'd love to get some people to go up there. So go ahead and take a look at those flyers if you haven't. Philmont and Summit. And then we're looking at a couple of additional level 2 instructor courses that will be council run. That'll also be coming up, just getting the final touches on those. So if you haven't taken a level 2 course yet, but have been saying, hey, that's on my bucket list, we encourage you to do so, to take a look at those. And remember that we have scholarships available. So partial course scholarships are available for scouters that might need some assistance to attend a Scouting America level 2 instructor course. See the Dan Howells Scholarship webpage for more information. That Memorial Fund was established to honor the memory of this passionate leader and his lifelong commitment to leave no trace. And we thank the Howells family and Leave No Trace for creating this wonderful way for us to honor Dan's legacy in both Leave No Trace, outdoor ethics, and scouting. Let's not forget, it's also a great time. If we're out fishing, it's also a great time to help take care of those waterways. So don't forget about our season 2 of Scouting for Clean Water, or Scouting for Clean Waterways. The blog at the Scouting magazine had a wonderful article about how to do that. Don't forget to post your pictures on the Facebook page and turn in your information. We are keeping track of that, and then we will have some reports at the annual meetings about how many pounds of trash we've removed from the waterway and what an impact that makes on all of it across the country. Be sure to send in your photos of outdoor ethics, education, conservation projects, or just great nature photos that we've taken. Send them off to Roundtable at scouting.oec or scouting-oec.org. Paul loves to take pictures, but he also loves to look at other people's pictures. And your feedback is a gift. Was this roundtable helpful? What would you like to see covered in future roundtables? Now is an excellent time to give us your feedback as we start planning for next season's set of roundtables. If there's an idea that you have, please send that off to Paul and the team so that we can offer what you want to learn most about. And missed one, want to go back? Remember that all of the recordings of the Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Roundtables are posted on our website. And it's all of the years of them. So there's like years of recordings. So if you need a refresher or just want to see what we've been doing, take a look. And Paul's not here, but I wanted to give my closing thoughts. So I just got back from a quick trip down to Phoenix and Mesa, where my daughter and son-in-law live. And it struck me just how amazing with life the desert can be. We think of the desert as being this very forbidding place. And from those spikes on that little cactus, it is. This is one of the cactus that only bloom at night. So we were out about 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and I got some great photos of some of these night cactus. And I love this poem. When with the skin you do acknowledge drought, the dry in the voice, the lightness of feet, the fine flake of the heat at every level line. When with hand you learn to touch without, surprise the spine for the leaf, the prickled petal, the stone scorched in the shine and the wood brittle. Then where the pipe drips and the fronds sprout and the foot square forest of clover blooms and sand, you will lean and watch but never touch with your hand. So again, this is just a desert thought for this evening. That was written in September of 1934 by Josephine Mills. With that closing, thank you again for attending this season's set of roundtables. We'll see you again in August.